Good evening. It is the unofficial start to summer. The Victoria Day long weekend is here.
Highways are busy as some people get out of the city, and the city is also expected to be buzzing with activity this weekend. CTV's Janice Golding joins us live tonight with more on how people are preparing for the long weekend. Janice.
Hi, Michelle. Yes, they are heading into a long weekend, and many people are very much looking forward to having a little extra time off. We talked to them today about what their plans are. More than 140 splash pads are expected to open in Toronto this weekend, and this one at Hopewell and Oakwood was already getting some action today.
I like it very much.
Yeah? Why?
Because it's so fun.
Sugar Beach, which will host the Festival of Flavors this weekend, also saw its share of visitors today.
I was going to go to the food festival here, actually, on Saturday.
Also on the waterfront, Woodbine Beach was packed today, people enjoying some fun in the sun. And it will be even more packed after sundown Monday, given the city's annual Victoria Day fireworks will start at 10 p.m. at Ashbridge's Bay. In Toronto, you are permitted to set off fireworks on your own private property before 11 p.m. But if you're planning on heading to the beach, Toronto police want to remind you,
fireworks are not permitted on the beach. There are no fireworks to be deployed. Our officers will be in full enforcement. So any individuals who are coming to the beach with their fireworks will be investigated.
While beaches and parks are open, lifeguard supervision has not started for the year.
Definitely looking forward to the weekend, and I am hoping that this weather stays as beautiful as it is, and the plans are lots of cleaning up around the house.
In addition to outdoor spaces, stores and malls across the city may be big destinations, given the province gave retailers the option of opening this Victoria Day. Meanwhile, restaurants participating in Cafe TO will be able to get their patios going this weekend for tourists and Torontonians alike.
Walk around Kensington Market and see some friends and family.
Garden centers like this Home Hardware near Dufferin and St. Clair are also getting their share of visitors today.
It seems like mostly gardens. So we're selling a lot of seeds and a lot of soil, fertilizers. Everybody seems to be ready now to plant their garden this weekend.
There's certainly no shortage of options this long weekend.
Probably some barbecuing and some testing of camping tents.
My best friend's getting married. So it's a long weekend leaving the city, unfortunately, but we'll deal with the traffic and get to Windsor.
Something to keep in mind, Line 6 Finch West will be closed all weekend for system upgrades and FIFA World Cup preparations starting at 2:30 a.m. until 4 a.m. Tuesday. And we're live right now at Queen's Park, where this Sunday there will be a free ROM walk called Monuments in Memory that will start at 2 p.m. at the 48th Highlanders Memorial. Reporting live from Janice Golding. Now back to Sean.
Thanks, Janice. The OPP is reminding people to stay safe on the roads this weekend.
We're going to have extra officers out doing patrols, and things that we're looking for are, we're looking for people not wearing their seatbelts, drinking and driving, on their cell phone, inattentive driving, and speeders. So we want people to, put down that phone, obey the speed limits, wear your seatbelt, and, not drive impaired on our highways.
Police also urging people not to drink and drive, both on the road and on the water, as many people head to the cottage.
And here's a live look on this Friday evening. Look at that, Nathan Phillips Square bustling, all decked out in FIFA signage and attire. We got the beautiful turf there, and we have beautiful weather to go along with whatever you have planned, whether it's in the city or whether it's out. We've been waiting, Lindsay Morrison, for warm temperatures. We're getting them in on this Friday, and there's more to come.
Oh, absolutely, Michelle. Warmth for the long weekend. It's been a long time coming. Mother Nature getting the timing of this one right. Today, we made it to a high of 20 degrees. This is only the second time this month that we've been that mild, so that was a nice change. We've had southwesterly winds today, not particularly strong. Did have a bit of an increase in cloud this afternoon, but most parts of the GTA remain dry and pleasant. Let's bring back that patio forecast in case you have some Friday evening plans. It's looking good. Of course, it will get a little cooler after the sun sets, but our overnight low of 9 is seasonal. We've got some heat on the way for Monday and Tuesday. We're going to be talking temperatures near 30 and humidex values into the 30s. That's all ahead. But for now, Michelle and Sean, back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. As the clock ticks towards a possible lockout, talks continue between TTC and the union representing its electrical and signal workers.
There's a midnight deadline, at which point the transit agency will be in a legal lockout position. CTV's John Musselman is live tonight outside the hotel where negotiations are taking place with the latest. John, any updates?
Well, Sean, I'll just make it clear right off the top. The TTC says this will not affect service no matter what happens, whether there's a lockout or strike. This involves 700, as you mentioned, members of QP2, electrical workers, signal workers. So they're trying to reach a new deal with the TTC, and they continue to negotiate at this hour with the help of a mediator. Now, the union is asking for wage increases. The TTC is saying that what they're asking for would add an additional $40 million to the TTC's operating budget, which they can't afford, and they say that would be passed on to taxpayers. So we're in a bit of a holding pattern here as both sides continue to work with a mediator to try to reach a collective agreement. Again, I just want to emphasize, though, that the TTC says this will not affect service. They have a contingency plan in place. But keep in mind, if there is a strike or lockout and there is a safety issue on the system, there could be some delays or disruptions depending on what happens. We'll just have to keep an eye on it and see what happens here before the midnight deadline. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. Meanwhile, planned construction means there will be no train service on the Kitchener GO line this long weekend. Replacement buses will run instead. The final stop for riders heading into the city will be Highway 407 station, where they can transfer to the TTC. Barrie line trains will only go as far south as Downsview Park Station. Still to come, while many have plans to hit the road, gas prices are down and then up this long weekend. We'll have that story a little later.
He came to Canada in search of a better life, but ended up losing that life during a fight last weekend in Oshawa.
Tonight, those who knew Omran Youssoufi are remembering him. CTV's Beth McDonnell has more.
So the first punch of the fight was to me, and that was to my nose. At that time, when I got punched at the nose, it automatically started bleeding.
It's a fight at a Tim Hortons in North Oshawa that turned deadly, leaving friends and family devastated. Abel Mohamdi and his 23-year-old cousin Emran Youssoufi, along with their friend Ali Abdullah, were enjoying their evening when they say 5 or 6 people came inside with loud music, wearing masks, wanting to speak with Abel before agreeing to go outside.
One of them pulled out a baton out of his head, like a fanny pack. They pulled out a baton, tried to hit him. There were like 5, 6 of them, I believe, that tried to gang up on him. So me and his cousin, the deceased, we tried to pull each one of them off, but it didn't happen.
They say they tried to defend themselves and were totally unprepared for Emran losing his life.
Suddenly, out of all the confusion, one of them took out a knife from I don't know sure where and stabbed the deceased, my friend, and they all started running away.
The violence broke out around 8 Saturday night near Highway 407 and Simcoe Street North. Abel and Ali are now trying to make sense of Emran's death, remembering his happy demeanor and bravery, trying to help a loved one in trouble.
What kind of like cousin I have, you know, like a person that tried to protect me, because like my cousin didn't know them. Like, you know, like they were trying to come after me. Then my cousin stepped up. He stepped up to try to protect me.
Durham Regional Police have arrested and charged a 16-year-old boy from Brampton with second-degree murder. Officers also say they believe the victim and accused did not know one another before the fight, and so far, no other arrests have been announced. Abel and Ali say Emran is from Afghanistan and came to Canada with his family just a year ago. His plans to become an electrical engineer now erased.
The dreams that he had has all been taken away. It's just one stupid mistake.
Everyone found jobs. They were happy. Then this incident happened, which left the mom very sad, the family sad, us sad, everyone sad.
Now they want to see justice prevail and hope to see officials try the accused as an adult. They don't want anyone else to experience their grief and pain. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
2 people have been injured after a vehicle knocked over a pole in East York. This happened in the area of Pape and O'Connor around 11:15 this morning. Police say the vehicle involved flipped over after striking the pole. 2 people were taken to hospital with minor injuries. The cause of the crash is under investigation.
Cleanup is underway after a dump truck crashed into a bridge on the 403. The truck was driving with its box up when it crashed into a bridge in the eastbound lanes between Mavis and Huron, Ontario just before noon. The OPP posted these images of the truck on social media. They say no injuries were reported and no other vehicles were involved. The circumstances leading up to the crash are still being investigated.
Ontario's top court has dismissed an appeal filed by former fashion mogul Peter Nygard. The decision upholds Nygard's 2023 convictions on sexual assault, for which he was sentenced to 11 years in prison. The 84-year-old will now spend roughly 7 years behind bars after factoring in time served. Nygard's lawyers had argued the trial judge made errors in the ruling, including admitting testimony from an expert on trauma. A 3-judge panel ruled the error was, quote, harmless and did not mislead the jury or cause a miscarriage of justice.
A rally was held this morning calling on the province to protect funding for the TDSB's Model Schools for Inner Cities program.
CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has those details.
They're a small but passionate group fighting to keep Toronto's model schools for inner cities alive.
We cannot let them dismantle part of what has made TDSB so great for so many decades.
But the TDSB's provincially appointed supervisor has axed the program. It offers extra funding to 150 schools serving 56,000 kids. The idea is that students in economically challenged pockets of the city need a little extra help.
These programs matters because they level the playing field. Not every child begins their life with the same opportunities.
So there had been cash dedicated to keeping classes smaller so kids get more attention, more learning coaches and medical supports, all to help students dealing with challenges inside the classroom and out.
Food insecurity or housing precarity. And so in effect, really what these decisions mean is an attack on the poorest students.
And advocates say there's proof model schools are working.
Improved student well-being, reduced opportunity gaps, increased academic achievement, improved literacy and numeracy development, and narrowing of EQAO achievement gaps.
The end of the program could put 145 teachers out of work, and sideline trustees worry about lasting consequences for kids.
What's going to happen is just going to be astronomically bad for our communities, and I think that students in the most impoverished communities are not going to be able to achieve success because of these cuts.
A TDSB spokesperson says they're modernizing the supports of the Model Schools program. They insist students will still get what they need, with funding reallocated in a more targeted way. It's not clear if that will be enough to satisfy parents, educators, and trustees who want to leave the program intact. Advocates we heard from today are appealing not just to the education minister, but directly to the premier. In Doug Ford's riding, 15 of 19 TDSB elementary schools are model schools.
Doug's brother cared for these kids, no matter what you want to say, and he had tons of issues. He had a heart for some of the kids that are going to be most affected.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
The World Health Organization says a person with an inconclusive Hantavirus test in the U.S. has now tested negative, revising the number of cases in the outbreak down to 10. This comes as the Ontario Ministry of Health says it's now testing 10 asymptomatic people for the virus. They have connections to the cruise linked to the outbreak that left 3 people dead. The province previously said Ontario's top doctor was not recommending testing for those asymptomatic individuals. 7 of them are considered low-risk contacts who can stop their recommended 45-day isolation period if they test negative. 3 higher-risk contacts will keep isolating regardless of their results.
A landmark ruling by the Supreme Court of Canada today recognizing intimate partner violence as its own legal basis to sue for civil damages.
Centered on the case of a woman who was abused during her 16-year marriage, it paves the way for financial compensation beyond assault, battery, and emotional distress. CTV's Adrian Gabriel on the legal significance and what it means for victims.
I found myself in a very bad predicament.
At 17, Wendy Butler says she thought she'd met her Prince Charming, though for nearly 2 decades, she says she was trapped in an abusive relationship.
I didn't tell anyone because of shame. It took me a long time to leave.
What the mother of 2 says she experienced went beyond physical bruising.
The abuse that I endured, it was physical, emotional, and psychological. And I lost myself.
Today, Canada's highest court ruled in favor of creating a new tort of intimate partner violence. A tort is a legal term for a civil claim that allows a person to seek damages after being harmed.
The law already gave victims the ability to
to seek redress for physical assault and for sexual assault.
This new tort recognizes that intimate partner violence isn't always physical or sexual.
Coercion and manipulation, humiliation, isolation.
As part of Justice Nicholas Kaiserer's 200-page ruling, the case briefing outlines that a victim must show that their partner intentionally engaged in abusive conduct and that the conduct amounted to coercive control when viewed in context.
Today's a big day.
It is a very big day.
For survivors who can now seek justice after years of being controlled, confined, and psychologically harmed.
There have been few, if any, decisions in my 25-year legal career that has been as consequential to the field of gender-based violence as this one today.
If there's someone watching right now who's in a violent relationship, what would your message be to them?
There is hope. There's a chance for new beginnings.
This new legal pathway for survivors will develop and evolve in the courts over the years and decades to come. Many hope it will also drastically decrease intimate partner violence and abuse of all kinds. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Angus, Ontario.
Ottawa and Alberta have announced a deal on carbon pricing that could pave the way for construction of a new pipeline.
CTV's Abigail Beeman reports the agreement could help diffuse political tensions, but there are several hurdles in the way of any potential project.
This is a big step forward in Ottawa-Alberta relations with commitments for both the pipeline and lower carbon pricing.
This gives industry the time and certainty needed to plan, invest, and deliver real emissions-reducing projects without undermining competitiveness.
Alberta is pitching this as a big win, both in terms of major savings for the oil industry and progress on its long-standing push for a pipeline to the West Coast to reach Asian markets. The new deal signed between the province and Ottawa puts the effective carbon price at $130 a ton by 2040 instead of 2030. Alberta plans to submit its pipeline proposal to the Major Projects Office by July 1st, and Ottawa commits to naming it as a project in the national interest by October, then work to greenlight construction by September 2027. Alberta wants to see oil flowing no later than 2033-34, but there are outstanding issues. All this is promised alongside consultations with Indigenous peoples, some of whom are vehemently opposed. There is no private proponent yet to pay for it, and the Prime Minister maintains no pathways, no pipeline, meaning the carbon capture project known as Pathways, yet the deal doesn't lay out any conditions for that to be built before or alongside a pipeline.
Coming together, making an agreement, moving forward, creating a better future for our kids and grandkids, including, I very much strongly going to stress this, including with respect to the environment.
And on another topic, electricity, today's deal builds on the Prime Minister's promise yesterday to loosen Trudeau-era clean electricity regulations by basically removing them for Alberta. That's all within the larger goal of doubling Canada's electricity capacity by 2050. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
With people across the country, hitting the road for this long weekend, sky-high prices at the gas pumps are making it a bumpier ride than usual.
CTV's John Ventavelle-Rao crunches the numbers on the gas prices.
For those filling up while hauling up extra items to the cottage this weekend, the answer to one question was near universal.
How are you feeling about the gas price this Victoria Day weekend?
Bad. Yeah, it's very expensive.
At this highway gas stop north of Toronto on the way to cottage country, drivers said the high price wasn't keeping them from traveling, but was making the trip a little less enjoyable.
When I looked at it, I thought, yeah, okay, well, and I said a little prayer that God would bring it down at some point so we could afford it better, but it is what it is.
According to the website Gas Buddy, the national average price is $1.90 compared to $1.39 a year ago, making it 51 cents more compared to last Victoria Day weekend. Some drivers said the trip to and from the cottage was costing them an extra $30 in gas this year.
It hurts and it's not what you want, but it's a necessary evil for us because it is summertime.
In Vancouver, gas remains above $2.20, which some think could become the national average this summer if the blockades of the Strait of Hormuz continue to constrain oil supplies globally.
If the Strait remains closed for another few weeks, there's certainly increasing chances that Canada could take out its previous 2022 record of $2.11 a liter.
And now there is some concern about supplies of motor oil and warning some brands may get harder to come by.
The motor oil sections in many stores across Canada, North America, may wind up having less selection and certainly some products not being available whatsoever.
Meanwhile, gas expert Dan McTigg says if motorists want to save money, they should try to buy their gas after 6 p.m. because in most cities, he says, the price drops a few cents a litre in the evenings. John Benavalli-Rouse, CTV News, Toronto.
Good to know. Well, with the countdown underway to this summer's CUSMA review, Canada's two partners in the trade pact are keeping up their bilateral contacts. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum took to social media today saying she'd had a cordial and excellent phone conversation with Trump. She said they both reaffirmed joint efforts on security and trade as the Trump administration presses Mexico to step up operations against drug cartels. Mexico and the U.S. will begin their bilateral negotiations for the CUSMA review in a few weeks. A similar plan for talks hasn't been set between Canada and the U.S.
The presidents of both the United States and China are conveying positive signals following Donald Trump's visit to Beijing as other countries closely analyze the aftermath. The two superpowers are still locked in disagreements on several economic and geopolitical fronts. But as the war with Iran continues, Trump says Xi Jinping agreed with him that Tehran should not be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon and that the Strait of Hormuz needs to be reopened to support global energy demands. As for the hot-button issue of Taiwan, Trump says he didn't respond when Xi told him that he was opposed to the island's independence.
I didn't say anything about it, but certainly, he brought that up. He talked about that to me, obviously. So what am I going to do? Say I don't want to talk to you about it? Because I have an agreement that was signed in 1982. No, we discussed arms sales, too. And what's his request? We discussed the Taiwan, the whole thing with the arms sales was in great detail, actually.
That's a reference to a major arms package authorized by the Trump's administration back in December. He said he would decide how to proceed and didn't respond when asked if the U.S. would defend Taiwan from China.
At least for now, that does appear to be a win for China. Still, what we heard from the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, is that nothing in terms of U.S. policy towards Taiwan has changed. That does seem to be a welcome news for the Taiwanese, but nevertheless, at least for China, this does appear to be perhaps a stalemate.
President Trump highlighted deals for China to buy hundreds of Boeing jets and billions of dollars worth of soybeans, but tariffs were not on the table for discussion.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited the site of a Russian strike in Kyiv today, where the death toll has risen to 24 people. Yesterday, an apartment building was struck by a Russian attack in the Ukrainian capital. Rescue crews spent more than 28 hours combing through the rubble for survivors and victims. 3 children are among the dead. Dozens of other people were injured in the attack. Also today, Zelensky said Ukrainian intel shows Russia is hoping to draw Belarus more deeply into the conflict with potential strikes on Ukraine or neighboring NATO countries. Moscow hasn't commented.
To San Jose, California now, where efforts to protect a species at risk led to a standoff on the roof of City Hall. 4 peregrine falcon chicks recently hatched, and local researchers arrived this week to fit them with tags to track their movements and location. But the birds' parents weren't too happy about what was going on and spent the entire time dive bombing the researchers to try and make them go away. They came prepared with helmets. These efforts came as avian flu has devastated the falcon populations in the Bay Area, making the chicks' arrival an especially welcome one.
Coming up, a man accused of sending suicide kits is expected to plead guilty, but the chemicals used in those kits are still being sold. The W5 investigation a little later in the newscast.
And I'm Pat Foran, coming up on Consumer Alert. With the long weekend ahead, many people will be firing up their barbecues, but if you haven't used yours yet, it may need a little TLC. We have some advice to get you ready to grill this weekend. All of that story, that's just ahead.
It is also go time for gardeners. Those of you who have been waiting to get your plants into the soil have some warm conditions to look forward to this weekend, although there is a risk of a shower or thunderstorm for Saturday afternoon. We're going to talk about that, and we are also discussing fireworks. There's a low chance of a shower on Sunday night and possibly overnight Monday, but conditions should be good for checking out the show and the scenery. Stay with us. We've got a detailed look at your long weekend forecast and beyond after this.
For many people, it goes hand in hand with the May long weekend, firing up the barbecue to celebrate with family and friends.
But if you haven't used your grill since last fall, chances are it may need a good cleaning before you get started. Here's Pat Foran, who you know is going to be grilling this long weekend with Consumer Alert. Pat.
I think so. Thanks, Michelle. And Sean, with the price of a good steak or any kind of barbecue item these days, the last thing you want to do is burn it. Your barbecue may need a good once over before you start grilling, and depending on the shape it's in, it might be time for a new one. Jo Hill-Ross felt it was time for her family to get a new barbecue.
We've been having trouble with the igniter. It won't light.
If you're using your gas grill for the first time this weekend, you'll want to make sure it's ready for another season.
This is a really good time of year to open up the grill, check out what it's been through over the winter, and give it a good wipe down.
If you didn't give your barbecue a good cleaning when you put it away for the fall, you may have some work to do.
Maintaining your grill is about more than just keeping it looking nice. It can actually make it safer and work better, too. Things like failed igniters, leaking gas line, or a clogged burner are all typically things that you can fix, but they're also a big problem if you let them go unchecked.
To check your gas line for leaks, connect the propane tank, open the valve, and use a mixture of water and dish soap on the gas line and other parts. If you see any bubbling, that could mean you have a leak. You may need a new tank or replacement hose.
Make sure spiders haven't built webs inside of it over the winter, because if they have, lighting the grill can cause those to ignite.
Next, fire it up and check the burners. Yellow or uneven flames usually means a clogged burner. Turn off the gas and try cleaning the holes with a toothpick. Once the grill has cooled, if that doesn't help, you can replace the burners. If the igniter is clicking slowly, not at all, or not lighting the grill, it may need a new battery or have corroded contacts. If repairs are starting to add up, or if there's a safety issue, you may want to consider replacing your barbecue.
A lot of things can be fixed on a grill, but generally big problems like a rusty firebox mean it might be time to get a new grill entirely.
This Napoleon gas grill aces all of Consumer Reports tests, plus people who own it say they would recommend it to their family and friends. When cleaning your barbecue grates, don't scrub them with a wire brush. The small, sharp bristles can break off and stick to the grill racks and then to your food. If swallowed, they can cause serious harm. And a low-cost barbecue may last 5 to 8 years, but a high-quality model can last 10 to 15 years or longer. If repairs start costing more than half the price of a new grill, then it might be time to get a new one. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, it is certainly a good day to be outside. Pat's got me thinking I might want to get a new barbecue. This is the weekend for it. It's finally arrived.
It's finally here. And I think it's going to feel so warm because it's been so cool. And there's this build-up. Yes, maybe a little bit of rain one of the days. But once we hit that holiday Monday, I mean, it's going to be a game changer.
This is the best we can ask for, I think, considering how soggy it's been at times this spring, how cool it's been for a good portion of the month of May. This weekend, we're getting a little swing in the other direction. So some warmth and some sun, but also just a little bit of a thunderstorm risk into tomorrow afternoon. I want to show you where it is expected to be a hot spot this weekend, and that's any garden center around the GTA this weekend. As mentioned, it's go time. People are eager to get planting. This was Vandermeer Nursery this afternoon. This is in the Ajax area. It's a lovely spot. It wasn't too busy midday today, but again, you can imagine that that's going to change in many places. Let's get to your long weekend weather forecast, and we've got some interesting weather to talk about into next week too. We're going to begin with a look at the satellite and radar. We did see a bit of cloud drift in this afternoon. Now we're getting some clearing. Overnight tonight should be pretty quiet. Then into tomorrow, this is what we're going to watch for. Chance of showers, risk of thunderstorms. After that, pretty dry for your Sunday. Risk of storms once again as we make our way into Monday. Early morning, mainly impacting parts of cottage country, and then the rest of Monday is not only dry, but it's hot. This is the next weather maker that's going to cool us down again as we move into the middle part of next week. Let's talk about this chance of showers and storms. We are going to wake up to sunshine. Cloud cover increases through the morning, and that's around 1 p.m. This should be fast moving. It will arrive and depart pretty quickly. The rest of the afternoon and evening is looking dry. Again, Sunday, mix of sun and cloud. There's this chance of some scattered wet weather and perhaps organized thunderstorms into early Monday. But again, there's the majority of the day side hours. It looks like it's going to be sunny and it's going to be hot. So by Monday, we're feeling like summer, never mind spring. It is 19 degrees right now. 9 is our forecast. Overnight low, under clear skies, calm winds. Here's tomorrow. So in the morning, again, increase in cloud, chance of showers and risk of storms in the afternoon. Daytime highs into the 20s. So today we made it to 20 degrees. It was only the second time this month that we've done that. So it has been quite cool. We're also going to be talking about humidity, less so in areas like cottage country. Again, that Monday is daytime. Risk of storms early in the morning. Your 7-day forecast looks like this, and I do want to touch upon the humidity. It is going to feel like 30 on Monday with a daytime high of 28. Tuesday could be the most humid day, but a cold front swings through. It cools us down for later next week. It's also going to bring us some wet weather for Tuesday and for Wednesday. That's the weather for now. Sean, over to you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Coming up, the Blue Jays hope to take the momentum from Dalton Varsho's extra inning grand slam into Detroit this weekend.
I grew up in Barquisimeto, Lara, Venezuela. I started playing baseball since 3 years old, so that's the only thing that I know to do. Being a dad, I take chances on my off day to spend time with my kids and my family. If we have the chance to go to a zoo, we go to a zoo, or we stay at home, but just enjoying family.
Is there anything else that sticks out as like a hobby or something like that you do?
That's a good question. I need to find a hobby. Playing my computer, playing some Warzone with my friends, playing some FIFA. I like the CN Tower, and that's the only place that the aquarium. I went there with my family, so I like that one.
Do you have any restaurants that are like your go-to?
Yeah, I like the Cake. I like Silent Age. Really good Mexican food over there.
What do you love about Toronto?
I like everything. Always been one of my, when I was in Cleveland, Toronto, it was one of my favorite place to go on the road. So now I'm playing here and I feel more in love with the city. I like everything about it, a lot of food, diversity, different cultures. So it kind of reminds me of Venezuela.
A major seller of suicide kits linked to at least 150 deaths around the world is expected to plead guilty in an Ontario courtroom.
However, a W5 investigation is looking into why other deaths from the same chemicals sold in the kits appear to be continuing. CTV's John Woodward reports.
Muy buena hija, muy buena amiga.
These photos represent the life of Yesenia Bedoya Lopez that she once shared with her parents, Leonardo and Maria.
I don't have the words. She was my friend, my confidant, my light.
They described how they had come to Ontario from Colombia, first settling in Thunder Bay and then the Greater Toronto area. Yesenia was passionate about leadership, attending a program with the York Regional Police. But as the pandemic wore on, the isolation took its toll on the 18-year-old. Her parents admitted her to a local hospital for depression in 2022. She was discharged. That's when Yesenia went online and found out about deadly products offered by a company operated by former chef Kenneth Law, sold as suicide kits. In September 2022, they found Yesenia dead.
Her veins were very dark, very black. There's nothing natural about what happened.
A harrowing scene that may have played out at the homes of some 13 other families, including 21-year-old Stephen Mitchell and 19-year-old Ashton Prosser Blake. Kenneth Law was charged with murder in those deaths. He is now expected to plead guilty to 14 counts of aiding and abetting suicide. Around the world, a tally by W5 found the products connected to at least 150 deaths.
The chemical itself is a legal food preservative. It's only in high concentrations when it's deadly. When Kenneth Law was arrested, deaths tied to that substance dropped, but they didn't stop.
New data W5 collected from coroners across Canada show the particular poison Law sold, often abbreviated as SN, was linked to just 3 deaths across the country in 2018. In 2020, that had jumped to 31, staying that high for years, until dropping after Kenneth Law was arrested in 2023. But not to 0. In 2024, there were 17 deaths linked to the chemical. In 2025, there were 11.
Since 2019, we've seen an increase in the number of cases being sent to my laboratory.
Professor Amrita Ahluwalia said that trend is continuing in her home country of the United Kingdom, where 112 deaths were linked to Kenneth Law.
All I can be certain of is that we have seen an increase in the UK of the number of cases that show positive indication for the presence or use of this salt.
Law often marketed his products on a pro-suicide website that W5 is not naming. That, too, has new posts swapping tips about finding a legit source for Canada. The UK issued fines equivalent to almost $2 million to that site, but Canada doesn't have the same legal tools. Health Canada told W5 in a statement they asked tech company Google to delist the site. Google told them to get a court order. The agency says this matter has been referred to law enforcement. Yeshenia's parents don't want anyone to easily access this chemical, as they are pushing to keep her memory alive. As for Law, he is now expected to plead guilty to 14 counts of aiding and abetting suicide. With that plea, he's avoided a murder trial.
Charge him with murder. There are many deaths, too many deaths.
He's an assassin. He's a serious assassin. We know what he's done, and he should be charged as such.
They are watching the hearing closely and want Law's punishment to fit his crimes.
John Woodward, CTV News.
It's won 6 Tony Awards, and Kinky Boots is now back on stage at the CAA at Mervers Theatre.
It's been a decade since the Boots first strolled into town, and CTV's Andrea Case couldn't resist trying them on.
Based on a true story of a British shoemaker who saved the family business by making footwear for men worn by women, Kinky Boots returned to the Toronto stage this week, starring Noah Silverman as a manufacturer and Amari Collins as Lola, a drag queen. Collins says he was born to play the role.
I feel like Lola, in a nutshell, is this effervescent being, and I feel like I embody that, just look at me,
For Silverman, the role is a dream come true.
I saw the show when I was 14 years old on Broadway, and I was obsessed with the show. And this is a role that I never thought I could ever do.
This is my 7th time in the role. It's wild. It's wild. I always find something new every single time I come back to it.
You look pretty good, but I think there's something wrong with the outfit.
I think it's the boots.
Yeah, these are boots. Oh, it's just my size.
Cinderella.
Gentlemen? Woo! The boots are one thing. Collins's makeup and quick costume changes are another.
Let me tell you, it's magic, but it's also science. So we have it timed down to a T. I think our quickest one may be 31 seconds. Yeah, so we come off. I think Charlie says a few lines, and then I come right back on, in full everything.
I've had people come up to me after different shows and kind of, especially, in the States and some of the more rural places that we go, and they'll come up to me and they'll be like, I had no idea what I signed up for. This isn't necessarily what I could have ever expected, and it's absolutely amazing, and it completely touched me, and thank you so much.
One of the major themes in our show is you change the world when you change your mind, and so, as long as we can affect even one person in the audience, that is life-changing for me. I hoped that people will come in with an open mind and an open heart and leave with feeling full.
Kinky Boots is on stage now at the CAA at Mervers Theatre. Andrea Case, CTV News.
After the break, Toronto freezes over for Drake's triple album drop. Here are the closing market numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar ended the week at 72.86 cents U.S. West Texas Intermediate is up $4 to 105.42 a barrel. And the TSX lost over 400 points today. Well, the Blue Jays are in Detroit taking on the Tigers tonight, and they're hoping to ride the momentum from this.
Another 2-2 pitch, and it's hit to deep left field. It's carrying. It's gone.
That was, of course, a game-winning grand slam courtesy of Dalton Varsho on Wednesday. Trey Savage is set to get the start tonight for the Blue Jays, with first pitch being set for 6:45 p.m. in Detroit.
The World Cup is less than a month away, and Dane St. Clair is vying to be Team Canada's #1 goalkeeper.
CTV's chief anchor and senior editor Omar Sachedina sat down with him about how playing with Lionel Messi has helped him prepare to play on the global stage.
Saved by St. Clair. St. Clair with another really good block.
St. Clair, his biggest save of the night. Qatar 2022, and now Dane St. Clair is about to represent Canada again in his second World Cup.
That is a great save by Dane St. Clair.
But there's still a big unknown whether he'll be starting in goal.
It's a team, and we want to do what's best for our country and put the guys out there that the coach thinks and believes in that can do the job. And of course, I think that's myself, but at the same time, respecting the coach's decision.
Dane St. Clair with a magnificent save.
Born in Pickering, Ontario, the 29-year-old now plays for Inter Miami.
Obviously, playing on such a global stage and a global team, I think is really preparing me for such a global tournament this summer, and it was a large part of the reason why I decided to go there.
The pressure here, Lionel Messi.
It also happens to be the home of soccer great Lionel Messi, who went from taking shots on St. Clair to joining forces with him.
Over to the far side it goes. Messi the ball.
What's that like? I mean, is it daunting, or have you just sort of accepted the fact that he's just part of the team? You got to approach it that way.
No, I think you got to approach it like he's a part of the team. Of course, he's the greatest to ever play, but to be able to kind of put myself in front of that and to be able to challenge myself on a daily basis, I think only makes me better.
He's grown a lot since he went pro, selected by Minnesota United in 2019 and rising through the ranks to become the 2025 MLS Goalkeeper of the Year.
It's De Rosario. It's saved!
The son of a Trinidadian father and a mother with roots in Scotland, he grew up with the game.
Are there divided loyalties?
Yeah, I'm sure my family over there will be cheering for Scotland. I remember when Trinidad made the World Cup, I felt like I wanted Trinidad to do so well at it. Obviously, Canada wasn't in it at that time, but I think anytime you have multiple countries that you feel a part of, you want all those teams to be successful.
A diplomatic answer, but for him, only one choice.
What do you think it's going to be like to be able to play on home soil?
A dream come true. Anytime you get the opportunity to wear the maple leaf on your chest, there's always a lot of pride and passion. And you're always playing and fighting for something that's way bigger than you, and to be able to kind of do that and look around the stadium and see so many Canadians cheering us on and wanting to do well, but also to show the rest of the world who we are.
A message he'll soon take to the pitch and share with the world. Omar Sachedina, CTV News, Toronto.
Finally today, to drop not one, not two, but 3 new albums, Toronto's own Drake lit up the night sky last night.
From the CN Tower to fireworks along the waterfront, the rapper unveiled his long-awaited music, once again using Toronto as his stage. Toronto's most iconic landmark got an icy makeover as Drake used his hometown as a backdrop to roll out long-anticipated new music.
I'm tuned in. I'm already tuned in. One earphone's in, the other one in. Listening all day, man. We love Drake.
Following day-long speculation, hundreds gathered at the base of the CN Tower, not knowing what they were in for. This fan rushed in from the U.S.
It's going to be iconic. You already know anytime Drake does something, he does it big.
He runs this city. We all came out. Drake runs this city. I just want to be here. I want to meet the guy.
The build-up for Drake's Iceman album has been extensive, from iced-out chairs at the Raptors game to the unveiling of the release date hidden inside an ice sculpture that sparked a
frenzy and international attention. Culminating in this big moment, dozens of projectors creating the illusion of a tower encased in ice.
Say, bro, we love you, but all my words really
The spectacle in the six unfolding on a live stream.
It was ice.
With cameos from comedian Shane Gillis and Drake's son, Adonis. Full of scenes, the famous rapper had been spotted shooting all around the city, including the explosion that sparked backlash. The 39-year-old is one of the world's most streamed artists, has a key to the city, and with permission from City Hall, got to sport the chain of office in the mayor's office and shoot in council chambers. The city releasing a statement to assure the public a staff member was on site during production. Drake even leaving a note for the mayor that reads, "Thank you to my crowdie, Crolivia Chow," signed the Iceman.
I get a little bit emotional, you know. He's done so much for the city.
Fans overwhelmed by the experience. The White House even putting their own spin on Drake's album rollout, posting this on X. But even those who think it's all a little much were treated to a free fireworks display to cap it all off. And a midnight surprise, not one, but 3 new albums dropped. Call it a stunt, call it a spectacle. The icy rollout, certainly hard to miss. Have you listened to the music?
Well,
There's
I was
so much
woken
of
up
it.
by the fireworks last night, and I got a little preview of the music this morning. So it's pretty good, but it's a lot to get through, over 40 songs.
Right? And hey, fireworks, perfect timing too. It is the long weekend. We've got the weather to boot. Lots to be excited about.
Lots to be excited about, and no icy weather for tonight. It's going to be quite warm, in fact, as we make our way through the long weekend. There's tomorrow's highs. Temperature-wise, we're expecting to be about 23 degrees for a daytime high. There it is. And let's take a look at your long weekend forecast. Warm by Monday. I should just go ahead and call it hot. Summer-like, feeling like 30, but we will cool down toward the end of next week. Have a safe and happy long weekend, everyone. Michelle and Sean.
Thank you, Lindsay. And Heather Butts has you covered tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Ahmed with your next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and online at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful long weekend.